Hey, what's going on out there, world? You know who it is. Zeus Cruz of Olympian Multimedia giving you another segment of Get Things Done. In this particular segment, we're going to be discussing about writing. As everybody knows, I am a published author, published poet. That's my main genre that I focus on between poetry and short stories. Obviously, there's other different genres that you can get into when it comes to writing. Today, I kind of just want to give some inspiration for those who are aspiring to become a writer, where I get my inspiration from. And it doesn't come always from the most likeliest of sources, but that's the beauty of it when it comes to inspiration. You can get it from anywhere. So, the biggest thing that I always tell people when it comes to starting your writing project, you got to read. It's so vital and pivotal for you to read as much as you can. And it doesn't have to be a certain type of content. It comes from anywhere, between magazines, books, stuff that you see online. But reading definitely is fundamental when it comes to being a writer because it definitely gives you not only ideas, but it expands your vocabulary. You'll come across a lot of terminology and phrases that you're not familiar with that you're kind of like, wow, I could kind of incorporate that in my writing. Adds a little bit of flair to your writing project. Uh, for me, reading is a huge thing for me. Love to read. So I just wanted to kind of give you some examples real quick of, like I said, different types of literature that I pull inspiration from. Obviously, I do read other poets. So I have here a treasury of favorite poems. It's just a collection from different poets. It's not like a definitive collection, but it just kind of puts more of the more popular poets and some of their more popular work. I'm definitely a fan of Robert Frost, Emily Dickinson, Emily Bronte, T.S. Eliot, Lewis Carroll, and obviously Edgar Allan Poe. I think a lot of people don't realize he was a poet. Some of his earliest work was not horror, it was actually poetry, but he actually incorporated a little bit of horror elements into it. But those are some of my favorite poets, and their works is in here along with a lot of other people as well. There's actually a couple poets in here too that I was not even aware that they were a poet. A quick example is Walt Whitman. They named the bridge after him. I didn't realize. Obviously, he was into politics and stuff like that, but I didn't realize he was a poet. So it was kind of unique to come across that. Definitely get inspiration from this. The names that I just mentioned, definitely you could probably find their work by themselves. I definitely recommend them to you. This is my favorite author. His name is H.P. Lovecraft. This is his complete edition. So this is his definitive collection. He wrote short stories. He was a horror. That was his main forte when it came to writing. The reason why I get inspiration from this is because when you read it, it doesn't feel like you're reading a horror story. You know, clearly you come across certain excerpts and you do sense the horror coming into it, the suspense, the certain elements that come with that. But overall, it's just a really good storytelling, and he didn't concentrate so much on like gore and other things that are associated with horror. So I kind of try to incorporate that with my writing as well. I try to write abstract, but I also try to write it as if not necessarily it's a poem or it's a short story. Um, just have a sense of flow to it, and just kind of put my own spin on it, on the whole genre. And I think that's the thing I appreciate about him when it comes to horror. He definitely put his own spin on it. These two right here are my second favorite books. It's by Dan Simmons. The first one is called Illium, and the second one is called Olympos. And the reason why I love these books so much is that they combine two different genres, science fiction and Greek mythology, which I'm huge fans of. This is definitely one of the most unique stories I've ever came across and read. Definitely recommend you to read these if you're into them genres. I pull inspiration from this just for the fact that he's able to create such a vivid, in-depth, and intriguing story when it comes to science fiction and Greek mythology. You really don't will ever think them two would actually mesh into a really good story, but Dan Simmons definitely pulls it off. So I kind of get that inspiration when it comes to my rhyme, my poetry, my short stories, to kind of involve and incorporate multiple genres, and try to make obviously the story fluent and coherent for the reader to comprehend and understand. So definitely I recommend these for anybody to read. You're definitely not going to be disappointed. My last one that I'm going to showcase is Dante's Divine Comedy. This is pretty much in a lot of, you go to college, this is probably a requirement if you take like an English course, especially if that's English or literature is going to be your major. They're probably going to end up having you read this book. The more particular story most people are familiar with is Dante's Inferno, and it's about Dante going through the 9 stages of hell to try to get back his love Beatrice that he lost. The devil ended up apprehending her and taking her to hell, and he's basically taken on this tour guide by Virgil, to, like I said, try to get back his love. It's definitely a hard pill to swallow to read because of the way he writes it. It's definitely all in poetry form. But the terminology and the phrases and stuff that he used and his wording, it's definitely not something common that most people are associated with now. But I just gain inspiration because it just expands my vocabulary. You know, his use of wording in there is like freaking phenomenal. And I love how metaphoric he was. He didn't always put it out there for the reader to just like, this is what specifically I'm talking about. It's kind of like you had to read between the lines. You kind of had to follow the context clues that was built within the writing, within the stanzas, to get a real a real glimpse of what he was trying to convey through his writing. So I definitely recommend that. If you do decide to read it, just understand, just bear with it. You're going to probably have to reread it a few times to really get an understanding of it, but it will definitely enhance your scope as a writer. So that's it. I just kind of just want to give some inspiration to you guys, let y'all get in my head to see where I get inspiration from my writing. But definitely don't overthink your writing project. You know, you start with an idea and from there just expand on it. The best way to do it is at least write something every day. Even if you feel like it's not coherent or it's not well put together, eventually your ideas are going to start forming and you're going to be able to put your project together and it's going to come to life. So that's it, y'all. You know who it is. Zeus Cruz of Olympian Multimedia. And I guess the only thing left to say is get things done. Check you later.